let's move on to Manchester City. The Telegraph has reported that Man City could be expelled from all competitions if found guilty in their 115 charges case. How likely do you think that is?
I think that's unlikely. Look, we've been talking about getting relegated, maybe a couple of leagues, those sort of things. Um, Expelled from every competition for how long for? I don't know, but I don't see it being that draconian when it comes to it. For the first time, I'm starting to hear noises about potential settlements for this case. And I don't think it will be quickly, but I think when each side starts to lay out their evidence and we see some cross examination starting to happen in the weeks ahead, I think that there may be both sides starting to realise that they've both got, they're going to fight to a score draw. So let's just see how that plays out. But I think there will be a penalty at some stage, but I don't think it's going to be expulsion from everything. I think there still will be a relegation and maybe down a league or two, possibly.
And what would those settlements look like? Why would either party go into those settlements? Manchester City to avoid further relegation, further fine, or the Premier League to just get this over with?
Both. I think it's exactly that. It's Premier League definitely want it over with and to put this behind them and to learn the lessons, hopefully, in the future for how to administer the game and administer their rule book. And Manchester City can't keep on fighting these sort of battles, and they know themselves, PR wise, and also, from a public image point of view as a football club around the world, they've got to get this put to bed and try and move forward. Everybody loves the football they've been playing, and Guardiola's done a great job, as we know. But there is still this cloud hanging over them, and they want that cloud gone, I think, as quickly as possible. So both sides, it's in everybody's interest to get this resolved in some way, but it's gone on for so long now, there's got to be a clear reason why any settlement would come together, and that could be that both sides have got very good cases on each side. And so in that case, common sense has got to prevail, we hope, at some stage.
And if a settlement were to be struck, could you see Man City settling, including a relegation, or they would only settle to prevent relegation?
No, I think you could see that they would take a penalty. Again, it depends what we see coming out in the next couple of weeks. I mean, I'd love to be a fly on that wall in those boring conversations, but there'll be some bombshells at the same time. And in cross-examinations, you never know when somebody might slip up and say something wrong. So it's a dramatic case, and it would be a perfect Netflix situation if they could get the cameras in there. Unfortunately, it's not to be, but nevertheless, I think it's all going to come out in the wash in the next few weeks. So we hope it doesn't drag on for the next couple of years, as it may well do.
No doubt. And then in another trial that Manchester City's involved in, a verdict into Man City's legal challenge of the Premier League's associated party financial rules, which have split the English top flight, is expected over the coming days. How is that different from the 115 charges, and what is it?
Well, this is pretty much a straightforward measurement exercise, and it's really all about saying, what is the value of your shirt sponsor? And you can't suddenly say, well, we've sold it for $1 billion to a potential sponsor, rather than what the normal market rate is, because they're an associated party transaction. So it's finding that there's a reasonable value, which is always, when you have the word reasonable, that can mean many things to different people. And so it's trying to work out, have they been reasonable? Has there been a fair market value? Example, if Abu Dhabi Tourism suddenly paid 500 million for the shirt sponsorship, how many people actually travel on tourist holidays from Abu Dhabi to Manchester? There's got to be some sort of level of evaluation, and also what is the going market rate with other clubs for these sort of things. So it's establishing those sort of benchmarks and making sure that the rules aren't bent too badly. So that's basically, I say, it should be a pretty straightforward exercise in being able to measure those sort of things. From what I'm hearing, again, this has been like a score draw as well, where both sides are going to win points on this. And so the clubs themselves, once that announcement is made, will have to decide on if there are going to be any changes of rules. They've been waiting for this sort of decision to come out. So let's just wait and see how that comes out. Hopefully the next few days we'll have more on it, and there'll be more talking points, certainly.
And I can say for sure that this is completely different from the 115 charges, right? This is a different case, and it's similar to kind of when the Saudis came in to buy Newcastle to try and prevent exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is a completely different case, and this really, a lot of critics have said that this whole rule, the rules set on this, on the associated party transactions, were set to try and stop the Saudis from spending so much on Newcastle. And so many have said it was to stop clubs breaking into the Big Six as such. So there's a lot of criticism and discussion around that sort of fact. But let's see how it ends up. As I say, it should be a pretty black and white situation, and it seems to be that both sides have managed to land a few punches. So it'll be very interesting, and I'll be keen to see this written judgment ASAP.